Portia Clark, and I'm currently president of the Green Valley Civic Association. I also work with other community organizations and nonprofits in the Green Valley area. I'm currently serving on the board as the acting executive director of Arm in Arm. I also run a nonprofit that's called C.A.R.E. Incorporated. Actually, I was born in D.C. because of the times, but I've lived in Arlington all my life. And I guess I grew up being born right before the 60s. So there have been a lot of changes, and the demographics have certainly shifted in the neighborhood. But all in all, it's been good. But going from a community that was at one time 85 to 90% African American to probably around 20% today. Definitely been through gentrification, been through the 60s movement and all of that, but nonetheless, I enjoyed growing up there and having all the family around. Okay, well, of course, Mom, always, while she was here. Since then, I will say, like most parents today, our kids think they drive us, but they're not totally in charge of us. And others that I've worked with in the community, there have been a number of people. I've worked closely with Dr. Alfred Taylor. I worked with Camilla Ham at the Black Heritage Museum, getting that started when they went from virtual to a physical space. So certainly Camilla has been a big influence in getting me started with doing more of the history and the research and what's going on and what's gone on within our neighborhood. Then John Robinson, who actually gave me my first job in the community selling his Green Valley Newses. I've lived in Green Valley all my life, just moved around to different parts. Growing up there, it was nice having family around. My aunts all lived nearby, and, my mom and them were always close. So it was always nice to have family. But then we knew all of our neighbors, and you considered everybody family, and they helped take care of you and help groom and develop us. We now call ourselves a historic African American community, even though we're no longer predominantly African American. So, in trying to preserve some of that history and knowledge for others in the future to know, people that have grown up here and have created that history, like a lot of the bridge builders that were in Dr. Taylor's book, they're not going to be around to tell those stories. So some of the projects we do now is on preserving that history. It's important, I guess, even for us to ensure that these stories are written down and our kids know about that history. And like I said, not being born in Arlington, if you were born during that time, it was the tradition because you couldn't be born at Arlington. You couldn't go to Arlington Hospital. So they had to go to Freedman's Hospital, which is now Howard University. But we had businesses that were established to meet our needs back then. And one of those businesses was the Friendly Cab Stand. And he actually established his business and started it to help take women to the hospital when they were having babies. And my mom happened to be one of those. Well, certainly there's some history that still needs to be written up and displayed. But, when we look at some of our icons that people have done for years, like John Robinson, we built a town square, and it was named after him, the John Robinson Jr. Town Square. There's not a person that grew up during the times that I did that didn't know who John Robinson was. So they called him an icon, or the mayor of Green Valley. Attracting people to the neighborhood and being able to share some of those stories of how Doc Muse got established and the things that John Robinson did, which he was very active in the 60s, but he helped organize a lot of youth groups and got youth on marches with Martin Luther King. And, we traveled with John, and he was there for us. Yeah, many years ago when I was raising my kids, who are all grown now but still live within the area, there was not enough programming. And I ended up being the person to create a lot of programs. C.A.R.E. developed out of a need for more programming for youth. And we actually started with one of our first efforts where teenage pregnancy was a big issue back then, and the numbers just continued to escalate. So we started doing a program which was teenage pregnancy prevention, and we met with the kids at Drew Elementary School in the evenings, and they enjoyed it. But we were mentoring, providing them, support and whatever they needed, and educating them about, things to do to prevent becoming a teenage pregnancy. So it grew out of me, which is I like helping people, and this was a way to do it, and also to share my knowledge and my skills that I've acquired. Just recently I got a phone call from AKA of Arlington. We want to nominate you as our Person of the Year. So that, and then Arlington Community Foundation, where I received their Citizen Award. I've received awards through the schools, and it's not always to me about the awards and what I do, but I just like helping people and sharing the knowledge with it. I feel like God didn't just give it to me to keep it. So I have this way of things come to me, and I'm either doing something to help somebody or creating another program that will help our youth or parents. So I think it's just having that knowledge, and things will come, like, working with the food programs. We decided to create a garden for the community. So we now have a garden in the community that I'm most proud of, that, we give the harvest to those in need, and, often seek out our seniors who may not come out, but, here, you need some greens, we got some for you. So I enjoy helping, and when I can help somebody solve their problem or need, that's me. So that's what I'm, proud to be able to do, and to give them what God has given me.